Hello Blue Devils fans and welcome to another edition of Athlete of the Week, the Captain Series presented by The Heights. Today we're joined by Bailey Roux of the football team. Bailey, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
Good, doing good. Well, let's jump right in. First, let's talk about a little bit what brought you to Stout. Lane Pitt, our SID, told me you actually weren't really considering going to play college football, but what wound up changing your mind?
All right, it's kind of a longer story. My senior year, we had a pretty decent team. We made it to the playoffs. And I remember in there, like I told myself, like, Bailey, you want to be a chiropractor? You've only heard things about college, like how it's so much work, so much, like, you got to put so much time in. And I'm like, with a chiropractor, that's going to be a lot of work. So I don't think that's a good idea. So I played my senior season. And then Coach Berm and said, hey, you should come for a visit. I'm like, no, I was kind of trying to blow him off. But as everyone knows, Coach Berm is a very persistent man, very persistent. And he's like, okay, how about this? Your buddy's coming. You come down with him. You just tour the campus. So I'm like, okay, fine. So it was the last visit in December, I believe. Me, my dad, and a former player, we went down together. And we came down to the campus, and we started touring it. I'm like, oh, it's a pretty nice place. So we were touring the campus. The coaches were awesome. The Commons, we tried some of the food. I thought that was decent. They had the major I wanted at the time, the applied science. Coach Byrne brought me in his office, said, hey, we'd love to have you on the team. I said, all right, give me some time. Like 2 weeks later, my buddy who I came with committed. So I said, you know what, might as well, let's just give this a whirl. The rest is history.
And it wasn't the only thing that you kind of changed your mind on. I understand you initially came in as a tackle, but it was Coach Branch that kind of flipped you over to center. How was that transition at the beginning?
So, like, in high school, I played, like, the whole offensive line. I broke my hand, so then I had to switch from center my senior year to guard or tackle, wherever the matchup was. And then I came to Stout as a center for our elite camp. And then 2 weeks after that, we had fall camp, and I came in thinking I was going to be a center, and I got moved to tackle. So I'm like, okay, just something new. Just let's try this out. So I spent that full fall camp being a tackle, learning to tackle, not anything about center. So just kind of learning the offense that way. And then I got gray shirted. And then that following spring, Coach Branch had asked me to move to center. And then I was like, you know what, I'm young. He sees that as my best spot to get on the field. So why not just go with it?
That certainly worked out for you, having earned a couple all-conference nods and earning a team captain position. This year's obviously been a little different for everyone. How have you been coping with the situation, and how has your role as a captain figured into this unusual year?
So I had a hip surgery in December. I had a torn labrum and too much bone, so I had to shave it down. So much of my spring was just going to be rehab anyways. So when COVID came along that March time, I was still rehabbing and hanging out with my dog. I got a dog last fall. Took him for a lot of walks, so it was kind of a 2-for-1. Gave him exercise and got my hip a little strengthened up. And then, like, as for how I'm handling it, it was decent. Got a job. And then as for the captain role, I'm trying to get a thing going on Wednesdays for the offensive line where we can get together. I can teach them what I know and try to help them understand the offense as best they can without coaches being around. So, like, they can be with players, they can be relaxed, not afraid to ask questions. Because I know as a freshman, you're terrified, don't want to ask any questions. So, like, don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing. But if you're around other players, you're able to talk to them without all that pressure.
That's awesome. And my last question for you, could you talk a little bit about your career aspirations? You're set to graduate in December, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what comes after that?
So I came in as a chiropractor, I said, and then about halfway through my freshman year, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to be in the sciences any longer. So my father is a cop in my hometown. And I said, you know what, what's better than follow his footsteps? So I changed to criminal justice and rehabilitation. I finished my freshman year with that, wanting to be a cop. And then that summer, I'm like, oh, do I really want to be a cop? So then I had another decision. I said, why not try counseling? So that fall, I had a counseling class for my major, and I just loved it. Like, I loved being able to sit there, talk to people, hear what they have to say, and you kind of just listen and reflect on what they're saying. And I thought that's really cool. But I just kind of thought that would be awesome to be able to work with those people so they can talk to me and I can listen and just be there for them.
Absolutely. I'm sure the leadership position definitely helps you transition to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bailey, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck navigating the rest of the year.
Thank you very much.
The Heights is not just a place to live. It's a place where you can thrive academically, socially, and professionally. We're committed to giving the best experience possible.